Hello and welcome to the Calm Over Chaos corner. Today's tutorial is going to be using the Aqua brush within the 24 set of Kingdom of Colour brush pens. So let's go. I'm going to use this B page. I've already done the tutorial of filming. I've already filmed the tutorial of doing the blending of the rainbow letters. So if you want to, that tutorial will be linked in the bio. So if you want to watch that, then you can go and watch that one. But I'm going to use these pens here and the Aqua brush here to fill in the leaves, and also we'll have a little play around with the bumblebees as well, probably. If you want to find out how to fill up your Aqua brush, we also have a tutorial on that. That will also be linked in the bio. So have a good little watch of that and then come back to this one. Okay, should we start with the bumblebees or the leaves?
The leaves.
The leaves, okay. I think I'm going to go in with the dark green this time. You can choose any of the greens in the set, it really doesn't matter. If sometimes the water brush can get a little bit messy, so I would recommend, if you are messy like me, maybe putting a little bit of paper underneath just to catch the corners. I'll show you what I mean. Please, may you pass me that piece of paper?
Do you want it in paper towel?
No, it's okay, thank you. So this is just like a piece of paper. If you're a neat person, you won't need this step, but I'm not neat, so I do need this step. So the first thing I'm going to do is literally just outline the leaf. You can already see why I quite like to have this here, just in case I'm going over. So I'm just going to do an outline of the leaf using the brush pens. I do have a separate tutorial of the best way to use the brush pen and to hold the brush. And then you're going to go in with the Aqua brush. Now the Aqua brush basically works by squeezing it. So for example, if I squeeze it onto my hand, you can see it has drops of water, and then going straight over the ink. So as you can see here, by going over the ink, it just turns it into a beautiful sort of watercolor vibe. And then you use that ink, you move the ink around using the water to blend it out and to create this pretty sort of gradient. This is really good for multiple things. It's obviously creates really pretty effects that you can't even see the, this is why I have the paper there. You can't even see the streak marks or anything like that. But also it means that your pens will last so much longer, because rather than using the ink from the pen to cover the entire space, you're basically using water from the tap to cover most of it, which is just super helpful. So again, I'm just going to outline the leaf here, like so. You can do as little or as much as you want, that's up to you. This is just drying away, and then I'm going to go in like this. If you feel like you might need a little bit more water, you can just squeeze the pen as well. If you're brave, you can squeeze it straight onto the paper. If you're less brave like me, I normally squeeze it onto my hand a bit and then just go on like this. You should probably have like a paper towel or something rather than just using my hand every time, but like I said, I'm a little bit messy. And you literally just blend that out. If you want it to be a bit more pigmented, you just dip into the edges of the leaf and drag the ink out from the corners all the way to the middle, like so. I was just getting me a bit of paper towel. Thank you. Yeah, I dropped a bit over there, that's fine. So I'm gonna have the bit of paper towel here. So again, just like, okay, and now I'll do the next one. Then get my little paper towel, just splashing out a little bit there just so I don't put too much onto the paper. It doesn't matter if you go straight onto the paper with the squeezy thing, it just takes a lot more skill to control the water then. Because obviously the more water you have to work with, the more it needs to have somewhere to go. So I always find it's just easier to go in like this. Sometimes I use the paper towel then as well to just swipe the, can you see it on the camera? Yeah, to swipe the Aqua brush afterwards, just so you can see how instantly any ink is removed from the nib. It would do this by itself as well if you're colouring with it, but if you just want peace of mind that the nib is still clean, just straight after using it, just go in like that. Then with these other two little ones here, I'm going to go in and fill them in completely. I'm not going to use the Aqua brush on these little ones. And then I think I might go in and create a little bit more of a line effect on them afterwards. So I'm just going to use the tip of the very, very tip of the friggin' what's it called? The brush. I'm just going to create these little lines going over it. You can do this when it's wet or dry. If you do it when it's wet, the ink will like spread out into the water. If you do it when it's dry, it will retain its shape as a line a little bit more like it is now. But it doesn't really matter. It just depends what kind of effect you want. You could also, should we experiment and see what happens if we put a drop of water over that now? Just like blends it together even more. Like that. Just to create, it makes it look like it's just different types of leaves, I guess. I'm going to do the same thing here. You can see where the, if you look here, it's quite a good example, where it's still not quite dry, so basically around the edge, the lines are starting to expand. So that's why it really depends what kind of effect you want. If you want to have really sharp, clean lines, the best thing to do is wait for it to dry completely. You can just tap it and see if it's dry. If you want it to be a little bit more abstract, kind of like this one is here, then you can go over it while it is still a little bit damp. It's kind of one of the fun things about brush pens is you can just play around and really get whatever desired effect you want. Do you think we should do the line effect on the leaf as well? Makes sense too, doesn't it? So this one's the big boy, no pressure. Gonna go in again with the lines. Again, I'm really just using the tip of the brush pen, so it should barely feel like your pen's even touching the leaf. The last thing you want to do is be aggressive with these pens. They are meant to be gentle with. Gentle and calm and relaxing. As you can see again, right at the edge, the water wasn't quite dry, so it's kind of blurred a little bit, but I don't mind that for leaves. I quite like the look of it. This brush is starting to feel a little bit dry, so I'm just going to get a bit more water on my brush by doing a little dollop off of the page. Again, if you're brave or very, very talented, you can dollop the water straight onto the page, or maybe if you're doing a bigger section, but for something like this, I always think it's just safer to dollop it off the page. Is that the right word? Dollop it. Dollop it off the page and then add it on afterwards. Like that. You got some pretty leaves there. Okay, we're now going to repeat that process with the other leaves here. This, by the way, this line here is because it's for these go inside the binder. I'm just going to try and keep the line quite neat. So I'm just going to draw this here. It's just how I would prefer my pages to look inside the binder. But I'm going to go in, again, those gentle strokes outlining the leaf. And I'm going to go in. I can see how much this might have dried actually without a dollop. Shall we have a look? No, it's still good to use. The dollops do last quite a while. Going to go over like that. See again, as you can see, there's like a little bit of green on the nib of the brush. But if you just take a little bit of tissue paper or something and just go like that a couple of times, it's completely removed from the brush. So you can use it on all of the colours. Oh gosh, I'm using the wrong nib. I wonder why it didn't fit. Now let's go in and do a nice outline on this leaf as well. Now we'll go in. See this now, I think, it might be all right. It might need a little bit of extra water. Oh no, I think we're okay. It felt a little bit dry, but I think we'll be all right. Just blend that out. I find it works better in like fast but short strokes. Grab as much or as little ink as you want from the sides. I always imagine it like if you were to have a artist's palette, you know, where they have the different palette with the splodges of paint on it, like the paint emoji. It's like you're dabbing into one of those paint splodges and pulling it out to use on your canvas. There we go. I want this bit to be a bit more blended. So I'm just going to go over it again. I haven't used any extra water yet on this. And now the last leaf. It's so weird. This is like the job I did when I was 15, but for a different company. On their YouTube channel. It's like a full circle moment. And then we're going to go in again. Just blend it out. I'm kind of like testing myself actually. I still haven't dolloped any more water on it. I'm just using the water that was originally on it from a while ago. And as you can see as well, partly because it's high quality paper and they're high quality pens, I've gone over this layer here like 6 times and the paper hasn't come up at all. It's still just really smooth, which is why you need to get yourself high quality paper. People always say, but oh, I don't want to buy the books. I'm like, well, you don't have to buy my books, but if you're using it on rubbish paper, it's going to look a bit rubbish, potentially. Okay, so this is how it's looking now. You can see why I have the paper here, I just want it to be really neat and crisp at the ends there. Oh, I've missed this one. Let's finish off the last one there. Whoopsie, I didn't see it. Isn't it funny? It's my own drawing and I didn't even spot there was another leaf there. Okay, we're going to go in like this. I went over the line a bit, but it's fine. It's because I was rushing. Still no extra water as well. Well, as you can see, there's 2 different effects here. Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got the effect here. That's, I'd say, look more of a realistic looking leaf. And then you've got the effect here, which is more of a smooth looking leaf. So that's 2 different effects you can do on the leaves using the Aqua brush.